One Bite. I'm your host Gigi, and today we're making a very traditional, simple Chinese entree called steaming tofu. This is a very simple dish I'm going to teach you, which requires only 4 ingredients, and it is vegan friendly too. The 4 ingredients I was talking about is just basically contain 1 block of tofu. You can get these from any supermarket, like it's a very firm tofu. Do not get the soft one. It's because after you steam it, it's probably become very mushy and it doesn't look very appetizing when you want to serve a guest. Secondly, you need oil. Oils, you can use vegetable oils or corn oil, it's up to you. But please make sure you only have 4 tablespoons. It's because you don't want to balance out with the soy sauce at the end. So when you serve it with rice, it actually tastes very good with the proportional I'm going to teach you. Thirdly, you need 1/4 cup of soy sauce. And soy sauce, you can get it at mainly any supermarket will have it. Just get the premium soy sauce. Do not get the Japanese soy sauce. It's because the Japanese soy sauce have a very sweet taste to it. So when you steam your tofu at the end, it doesn't really match the flavoring. And when you serve it with rice with your for your guest or your family member, it tastes a bit too sweet, and some people doesn't really like that. And lastly, you need green onions for garnishing. You can depends on your favoring. You can either use 1 stalk or 2 stalk, and up to like as many as you want. It just depends on your flavor of taste for the green onions. And this looks very well when you garnish your Chinese tofu at the end. So after you get all your ingredients ready, it is time for steaming the pot or the pan. Usually in the Chinese method, you'll probably need a rag to support the amount of water that you'll be steaming. However, the method I'm going to teach you will be steaming right from the direct heat, and which is only takes about 10 minutes to steam your tofu, and it works great. So basically, you need to turn on your stove to medium heat, not too high, and fill up your pan to about halfway with water so it doesn't overflow the plate that you'll be putting on top with your tofu inside. And you can just cover this with a lid. So meanwhile you're waiting for your stove to be heated up for the water to boil, it is time for cutting our tofu. So basically, just get your tofu ready on your cutting board. Remember, be gentle with it, otherwise it will be breaking. Get your knife. Now I'm going to cut the tofu into 8 pieces. Cut the tofu into half block, like this. And then evenly cut them into 4 pieces. And then carefully put them onto the plate, which you will be using for steaming for the tofu. And now, doing the same way I taught you how to cut your first block of tofu, do it evenly for your second one as well. And distribute them accordingly to the plate. Gently and neatly. So after you cut your tofu, it is time to check if the water is boiling or not. Now it's ready. So remember to lift up the lid fully so the steaming evaporated water won't going back to the pan. And now, checking out that it has been boiled completely. Do you see a lot of bubbles boiling? This is the signal when the water becomes fully cooked. So once you know your water is ready to go, you get your tofu dish and you're ready to put into the pan directly. Holding the end of the plate and carefully put your tofu into the pan. But make sure that your finger doesn't touch the water, otherwise you'll probably get burnt. But it should be pretty easy because it's just putting directly onto the water and cover the lid with it. So meanwhile you're waiting for your tofu to be cooked, which is usually about 10 minutes for 1 block of tofu, you'll need to get your garnishing ready, which will be the green onions. Just place it on the mat and it is ready for use. For garnishing, I preferably like to use the bottom half of the green onions. So cut off the top part because they look kind of floppy, and when you want to serve your tofu, it doesn't look very attractive. And remember to cut the root part at the end because it doesn't look very appetizing. And then slowly cut diagonally And remember, do not cut too thick because green onions do have a bitter taste to it. And this is not for steaming purposes. It will just be on garnishing on top of the tofu, and the cooking oil will cook the green onions to complete into a crunchiness, but not too soft at the same time. Slowly and diagonally. Like that. And then put it into your dish for garnishing use. So depending on your choices, you can cut more. And personally, I do really like green onions, so I get 2 stalks for 1 block of tofu. Same way, diagonally, and cut very thinly so it doesn't taste the bitter after it cooks. And make sure not too thick, okay? And cut it evenly so they look all the same in length and in sizes. And then put it into your garnishing bowl. So after 10 minutes, it is time for us to lift up the tofu and set it aside for cooling. So you lift up the lid slowly so the vapor water doesn't get back onto the tofu. And you carefully get a spatula and slowly lift it up. Hold it firmly. Get your towel ready, or a paper towel will also work fine. Put your spatula in front of the tofu and drain the excess water into the pan. Carefully, and set the tofu aside for cooling. So after you let your tofu set aside for at least 3 minutes, it is ready to put a garnishing and a soy sauce on top. So now evenly distribute your green onions onto your tofu carefully. And randomly pour your soy sauce over the green onions and the tofu. So after you put your garnishing for the green onions and the soy sauce, get a small pan ready. And now pour your oils into the pan. And then you'll need to turn on your stove. To a very slow heat. You'll need to have a pair of chopsticks and then place it into the middle of the pan to see if the bubbles are forming. So now, looking closely, you'll see forming small bubbles around the chopstick rapidly. That means your oil is ready for use. However, if you do not want to use chopstick at home, you can also try the second method that I'm going to teach you. Get a very little water and then just splash it to the pan like that. But not too much because it will probably jump out the oil and then splash onto your face and it will probably get burned. So now our oil is ready to pour over the tofu. You turn off your stove completely and bring it over carefully to your dish. And now slowly from the middle, pour the hot oil to the tofu carefully. And when you pour this carefully, the oil won't splat on you, so you don't worry too much about yourself getting hurt. Now my plate is ready to serve my guests. This is the product of my steaming tofu. Now you try it out and taste it yourself.